Hey guys, Matt from Wolverine Nation here. Got the X2 in the garage here, and I just wanted to go over the settings. And I know there's a lot of questions on the group about the fully adjustable KYBs and how to adjust them and what's everybody doing. But the first thing you're going to want to do is get out your manual. It has all the info in it. We're working on the fronts here. The first thing you want to do is you want to check your preload. As you can see here, it gives you the measurement from the top of the spring to the bottom of the spring, and then it gives you the three distances, soft, standard, and hard. I usually run close to standard on the X2 so far, and I've found I've liked that. Some guys I know go a little bit softer, but basically what you're going to do is measure, and as you can see, try to do this with two hands. Or one hand, I'm sorry, but let's see. We're at about, it's hard to see, but I did measure it exact. We are at 13.5 inches, and they're calling for standard at 13.52. But that's where you're going to want to start. You're going to want to get your sags set on your preload. And how you do that, like I said, is you measure it, see if you want to go softer or harder. Then you're going to go up to your jam nuts, loosen them, loosen the top one, loosen the second one, and then you should be able to actually physically grab the spring and turn it and bring it down or up to get the length you want. You do want to have your suspension at sag. You know what I mean? So you want to have it jacked up off the ground. You don't want to do your measuring with the weight of the vehicle on the wheels and tires. But once you get your preload set, the next thing you're going to do, and it shows in the manual, your rebound dampening, which is the lower screw, the lower clicker, which is on the bottom of your KYB. And basically it shows you 30, 14, and 1 click from the full in position. So the full in position would be completely clockwise till it stops. Now once it stops, then you're going to back it out to the left, 30, 14, 1, or in between. But like I said, you want to get your preload set first to where you want to be. Then you're going to do that, jump down, and you can play with the settings. But it gives you the recommended settings for each one, you know what I mean? So I'm running standard on my preload, which is 13.52 inches. So I have that set. And then I actually drove the screws on my rebound all the way in direction A, so clockwise till it stops, then backed it out 14 clicks. Okay, so I'm sticking with standard here. Now, after you do that, you also have your fast compression, which is, a lot of people don't know, is this large, let me see if you can see it, large outer nut right here. Now what you do, same thing with that. You spin this, it's a 17 millimeter, spin this outside part all the way till it stops, and then for standard it's 1 3/4 back out. So what I did is I marked it, in line with each other, and then I backed it out 1 3/4 turns. Now, in the center, you have your slow dampening, and that's your clicker there. So, same thing with that. I'm running standard. That's where I wanted to start. So basically, you run it all the way into the A position till it stops, and then back it out as it shows here, 13 clicks. So obviously, that's the center screw with the the flathead slot. That's your clicker. So you're gonna drive that the whole way in and back it out 13 spots. I actually checked mine front here, and it was dead on from the factory to the standard settings. Now I know my original Wolverine rspec, each shock was completely different, and it did make a huge difference when I went over the machine. You know what I'm saying? I started at standard, and then I went from there and made it how I wanted. But it does make a huge difference if you get yourself, make sure that you're everything's set up evenly and how it's supposed to be, and then you can go from there if you want to go harder or softer. But like I said, everything's in the manual to be able to give you somewhat of a guideline. If you're not sure, start at standard. If you're doing a little bit of slower pace stuff, you may want to go down to the softer settings, or work your way between standard and minimum. If you're hitting it pretty hard, fast, you're obviously going to want to not be bottoming out as much. You might want to go towards the maximum hard settings, but you want to kind of try to keep everything, in line with that, and then you can go from there and fine tune it. But like I said, that's the front. The back's basically the same exact way. Just I think maybe the difference is maybe the preload, but it does give you all that. Let me see here in the manual for the rear also. Yeah, if you see, yeah, the distances are a little different on the rear, but it's going to be the exact same thing. You're going to measure from the bottom of the spring to the top of the spring. That's going to give you your preload, which on the front was 13.52, but on the back it's 13.96. So make sure you have the weight off the ground. Make sure you, you know what I mean, you have your wheels, your tires off the ground when you do this to get the right measurement, and then adjust accordingly. And then same thing, you go into your the rebound dampening, and it'll give you the settings for that. Now see, standard's 10 instead of 13 clicks from all the way in, and then it is also 1 3/4 turns on the high speed or the fast compression. So that's the same. That's on the larger outer nut, and then on the slow speed compression, it's saying 12 clicks if you want to go standard. But this will give you guys just an idea of how the suspension works. This is a really good suspension. It has a lot of adjustability. It does take some time, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could really mess things up. But at least get yourself where you a good starting point at either the standard, the max, or the minimum on all 4 shocks on all the settings, and then go from there. And you can kind of make it how you want it, and you should be able to get a good feel. And you want to be using your full suspension. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be bottoming out. You want to be able to use all this travel from here to here, and you don't want to have it set too hard to where you're not using that much, and you don't want to have it set too soft to where you're bottoming out all the time. So you got to play with it. You got to see what's good. Like I said, if you're not sure, start at standard, and then if you're bottoming out, then you might want to go to the harder settings. If it feels hard and you're kind of putting around and you think you need it, you'd like to feel a little less of the slower speed stuff, you might want to go down in the settings towards the minimum softer side of things. But like I said, everything is in the manual, and it tells you all that stuff, and at least it'll give you an idea of a starting point. And like I said, even though you got it from the factory, it doesn't mean it's set at standard. Go over, check all 4 of your shocks, get them all where they're supposed to be, then go from there. And I think a lot more people will be happier, and it makes a world of difference when you get your suspension fine-tuned to where to your riding style. And with these KYBs, you have the ability to do that. So please do yourself a favor and check them out. And if you have any questions, if I can answer it, I'm in no way a suspension guru, or do I have the the key clicker combinations to make this thing an absolute blast. I mean, everybody's different. The weight of your passengers, your cargo, the riding styles you do, if you're doing rock or mud or trails or whatever, everyone's going to be a little different. And that's what's nice about these shocks. You can adjust them to your needs. So I hope this helped some people out. And like I said, feel free to chime in if you found some settings that may work well for you. I know some guys said they're set up, in the standard form, it's a little hard, and they like it a little softer. I prefer to be able to have, I like being able to ride fast and it suck up the stuff, that I'm putting it through when I do decide to push on the right pedal a little harder. So like I said, I'm good in the standard mode. I found that to be the kind of sweet spot for me. I may try to tweak them a hair from there, but I just wanted to, like I said, go over this stuff with you guys, and I hope it helped. And thanks for watching.